I know you're a person of good character, but it's essential to understand that not everyone shares the values we hold dear. Our innate desire for a better world can sometimes blind us to the reality that some people thrive on discord, showing little to no empathy or regret. While it's painful to acknowledge, the truth is that those closest to us can sometimes cause the greatest harm. We often believe we can easily identify negativity, but more often than not, it's the subtle hints that we overlook, small discrepancies between what someone says and what they do. In today's discussion, we'll explore 9 telltale signs of a harmful presence in your life, focusing on how to recognize and shield yourself from those who may wish you harm. Stay with us, as understanding these signs isn't merely about avoidance, it's about cultivating a deeper sense of resilience and preserving your peace amid the chaos of difficult relationships. If you appreciate the insights we're sharing here, I'd appreciate it if you'd hit the subscribe button and make sure not to miss any part of this video. If you're watching, you're not like most people. You're different, and every part of this conversation could be critical for you. Number 1. Lack of empathy, the silent red flag. Let's start with a topic that might hit close to home for many of us: empathy, or rather, the lack of it. Empathy is the ability to put yourself in someone else's shoes, to feel what they're feeling, and to respond with understanding and compassion. It's something we all cherish in our closest relationships because it's the glue that binds us together in times of need. But what happens when you encounter someone who seems to lack this fundamental human trait? Imagine you're sharing a rough patch in your life. Maybe you've had a setback at work, or you're dealing with some personal struggles. Naturally, you'd expect a friend to respond with kindness, to offer a listening ear or some comforting words. But instead, you get something entirely different: a smirk, a dismissive comment, or worse, a sense that they're secretly enjoying your discomfort. It's unsettling, isn't it? This is more than just an awkward social moment. It's a profound indicator that something is off with this person's character. In the world of Stoicism, empathy is not just a nice-to-have. It's a core virtue. The Stoics believed that we are all interconnected, that the well-being of one person affects the whole community. When someone lacks empathy, it's not just a personal flaw. It's a breach of the Stoic principle of mutual support and communal harmony. Seneca, one of the great Stoic philosophers, emphasized the importance of sympathy and support in building strong, resilient communities. He taught that life's challenges become bearable when we face them together with compassion and understanding. So when you encounter someone who takes pleasure in another's misfortune, it's a red flag. It signals a character deeply at odds with the virtues that Stoicism values: patience, kindness, and the willingness to support one another through thick and thin. Recognizing this lack of empathy can be crucial. It's not just about protecting your emotional health, although that's important. It's also about safeguarding your journey towards living a virtuous life. By being mindful of this trait in others, you can make better choices about who you allow into your inner circle, ensuring that your relationships are built on a foundation of mutual respect and care. Number 2, emotional manipulation. This is one of those things that's hard to spot because it often hides behind a mask of concern or friendship. Manipulators are skilled at pushing your buttons in just the right way to get what they want, and they often do it by playing on your emotions. Picture this scenario: someone in your life is always the victim. No matter what happens, they find a way to turn every situation into something that's happening to them, and they do it in such a way that you feel compelled to come to their rescue. Or perhaps they're always blaming you for their problems, subtly or not so subtly, making you feel guilty for things that aren't really your fault. This isn't just annoying. It's a deliberate tactic designed to influence your behavior for their own benefit. Stoicism teaches us to be on guard against such manipulations. The Stoics believed that true freedom comes from within, that our peace of mind and emotional independence are our most valuable possessions. When someone tries to manipulate your emotions, they're essentially trying to take that freedom away from you. They want to control how you feel and, by extension, how you act. The Stoics, particularly Epictetus, taught that we should strive to maintain control over our reactions to external events. This includes the manipulations of others. According to Stoic philosophy, our responses should be measured, thoughtful, and in line with our values. This doesn't mean becoming cold or detached. It means cultivating the ability to respond to life's challenges and other people's behavior in a way that preserves our inner peace and autonomy. When you recognize that someone is manipulating your emotions, it's like seeing the strings on a puppet. Suddenly, you realize that your feelings and actions have been influenced not by your own choices, but by someone else's agenda. This awareness is powerful. It allows you to take a step back, reassess the relationship, and decide whether it's serving your best interests. Stoicism teaches us to look inward, to question why we react the way we do, and to build emotional resilience against such tactics. By identifying and addressing emotional manipulation, you're not just protecting yourself, you're also aligning with Stoic principles. You're ensuring that your life is guided by your own reasoned choices, not by the manipulations of others. And in doing so, you're cultivating a life of integrity, wisdom, and true freedom. Number 3. Quick temper. We've all encountered people who seem to explode at the slightest provocation. Maybe it's a friend, a family member, or even a colleague who turns minor disagreements into full-blown arguments. This kind of behavior can be more than just a personal quirk. It can be a serious indicator of deeper issues. When someone has a quick temper, it's usually a sign that they've lost control over their emotions. And in Stoic philosophy, self-control is everything. The Stoics believed that the key to a tranquil life lies in mastering our emotions, particularly the ones that have the power to disrupt our inner peace, like anger. Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor and Stoic philosopher, wrote extensively about the importance of self-mastery. He believed that by controlling our emotional responses, we could maintain our composure even in the face of life's challenges. A quick temper, on the other hand, is a clear sign that someone has lost this crucial battle with themselves. They've allowed their emotions to take the reins, leading to behavior that not only harms their own peace of mind, but also damages their relationships. When you're around someone with a quick temper, it creates a tense environment. People start to walk on eggshells, afraid to say or do anything that might set them off. This kind of atmosphere is toxic, not just for the person with the temper, but for everyone around them. It stifles open communication, breeds resentment, and ultimately erodes trust. From a Stoic perspective, this lack of self-control is a serious flaw. It's a departure from the virtues that Stoicism holds dear, such as patience, resilience, and the ability to maintain harmony within oneself and in one's relationships. The Stoics taught that anger, in particular, is one of the most destructive emotions. It clouds judgment, leads to irrational decisions, and often causes more harm than the situation that triggered it in the first place. Recognizing this quick temper in others can guide how you interact with them. It might mean approaching them with caution, trying to help them see the value of self-control, or in some cases, choosing to distance yourself to protect your own peace. In adopting a Stoic approach, you're not just shielding yourself from the fallout of their anger, you're also fostering an environment that supports your own growth and well-being. By maintaining your composure and refusing to be drawn into their emotional storms, you're practicing the Stoic virtue of self-mastery. You're showing that you value your peace of mind above all else. and you're contributing to a more harmonious, virtuous life, not just for yourself, but for those around you as well. Number 4, betrayal of trust. Trust is the cornerstone of any healthy relationship, whether it's with a friend, a partner, or a colleague. It's what allows us to feel safe, to be vulnerable, and to build connections that are meaningful and lasting. But what happens when that trust is betrayed? When someone lies to you, breaks a promise, or otherwise violates the trust you've placed in them, it shakes the very foundation of the relationship. In Stoicism, trust isn't just important, it's essential. The Stoics believed that a virtuous life is built on a foundation of integrity, honesty, and consistency. When someone betrays your trust, they're not just failing you on a personal level, they're demonstrating a fundamental flaw in their character. They're showing that there's a gap between what they say and what they do, a divide that Stoic philosophy condemns. For the Stoics, living according to reason means being reliable in both words and actions. Integrity is not just about being truthful, it's about being whole, about aligning your actions with your principles, regardless of external pressures or temptations. When someone fails to do this, when they lie, deceive, or break their promises, they're showing that they lack this essential wholeness. And the consequences of this can be far-reaching. Betrayal of trust doesn't just damage the immediate relationship, it can ripple out to affect the larger community. Trust is what allows us to cooperate, to work together toward common goals. Without it, the fabric of society begins to unravel. This is why recognizing when someone consistently betrays trust is so crucial. It's not just about protecting yourself from future harm, though that's certainly important. It's also about preserving the social fabric that binds us all together. Stoicism teaches us to respond to betrayal not with impulsive anger or vengeance, but with measured wisdom. It prompts us to ask ourselves, how can I preserve my dignity and peace of mind in this situation? Is it possible to restore trust, or is it wiser to distance myself? These are difficult questions, but they are necessary ones, reflecting the Stoic commitment to living a life of thoughtful deliberation and moral integrity. When trust is broken, the Stoics advise us to remain calm, to assess the situation with reason rather than emotion. If the relationship can be salvaged, it might be worth the effort to rebuild trust. But if the betrayal is severe or repeated, it may be time to walk away, preserving your own peace and upholding the Stoic virtues of integrity and self-respect. Number 5, avoidance of responsibility. We've all known people who, when faced with a mistake or a failure, immediately start pointing fingers. Instead of owning up to their actions, they shift the blame onto others, denying any responsibility for what went wrong. This behavior is not just frustrating, it's a serious departure from the principles of accountability and self-improvement, both of which are central to Stoic philosophy. In Stoicism, self-reflection is not just encouraged, it's considered a duty. The Stoics believed that personal growth comes from the ability to look inward, to evaluate our actions honestly, and to take responsibility for them, both the good and the bad. This process of self-examination is essential for aligning our behavior with our values and for learning from our mistakes. When someone consistently avoids taking responsibility for their actions, they're denying themselves this opportunity for growth. More troublingly, they're also undermining the relationships and communities around them. This behavior can manifest in small ways, like a co-worker who blames others for a missed deadline, or in more significant ways, such as a partner who refuses to acknowledge their role in a conflict. Regardless of the scale, the outcome is often the same, a breakdown in trust and communication, both of which are essential for any healthy interaction. Recognizing and addressing this avoidance of responsibility is crucial. not just for your own peace of mind, but also for fostering an environment where truth and integrity prevail. Stoic teachings remind us that while we cannot control the actions of others, we can control our responses to them. When faced with someone who habitually shirks responsibility, the Stoics would advise us to confront the issue directly, but with calm and reason. This might involve a frank conversation about the impact of their behavior, or if necessary, taking steps to distance yourself from the relationship. By embracing these Stoic principles, you're not just protecting yourself from the negative influence of others, you're also modeling the importance of owning one's actions. This is a powerful way to promote accountability and reflection, both in yourself and in those around you. In this way, recognizing and addressing the avoidance of responsibility becomes not just a means of self-protection, but a practice of Stoic virtue, one that contributes to a more accountable and reflective society. Number 6. Isolation, the gradual loss of connection. Isolation is one of the most subtle yet powerful tools of manipulation that some individuals use to gain control over others. It doesn't happen overnight. It's a slow, deliberate process where someone gradually separates you from your support network, your friends, your family, your colleagues, until you find yourself alone, dependent solely on them. At first, it might seem like this person just wants to spend more time with you. They might start by planting seeds of doubt about your loved ones, suggesting that these people don't really have your best interests at heart. Over time, these doubts can grow, and you might find yourself pulling away from the very people who care about you the most. This kind of manipulation is deeply concerning because it strips away the very essence of what makes us resilient, our social connections. In Stoic philosophy, the community is not just important, it's essential to our nature as human beings. The Stoics believed that we are inherently social creatures, that our personal and moral development is closely tied to the relationships we build and the communities we are a part of. Seneca, one of the great Stoic thinkers, spoke often about the importance of friendship and mutual support. He believed that our relationships should be based on respect, trust, and shared philosophical growth. When someone isolates you from others, they are weakening your ability to reason, to make independent choices, both of which are key aspects of Stoic teachings. Recognizing when you're being isolated can be challenging because it's often disguised as concern or love. But understanding the intent behind these actions is crucial. If you find yourself feeling increasingly isolated, or if you notice that your relationships with others are deteriorating because of one person's influence, it might be time to reevaluate the dynamics of that relationship. Stoicism doesn't just ask us to endure difficult situations. It encourages us to act with wisdom and justice. Confronting or distancing yourself from someone who tries to isolate you is not just about protecting your independence. It's about preserving the Stoic commitment to maintaining healthy, supportive, and uplifting relationships. This ensures not only your well-being, but also aligns with the Stoic ideal of living in harmony with others, fostering a community where each individual can thrive. Number 7. Using personal information against you. There's something deeply unsettling about someone who uses your personal information, something you shared in confidence, as a weapon against you. This could be a secret, a vulnerability, or even a past mistake that you confided in them, only to have them throw it back in your face when it suits them. This isn't just a betrayal, it's a deliberate attempt to manipulate and harm you. In Stoic philosophy, trust and prudence are highly valued. The Stoics taught that while it's important to be open and honest, it's equally important to be discerning about whom we share our innermost thoughts and feelings with. Not everyone deserves access to the deepest parts of our lives, and Stoicism advises caution in these matters, not out of paranoia, but out of wisdom. The The Stoics believed that personal information should be shared selectively with those who have proven themselves trustworthy and honorable. When someone takes that information and uses it against you, they are not just breaking your trust. They are engaging in a form of psychological manipulation that can have profound emotional impacts. This kind of behavior is starkly opposed to the Stoic values of justice, respect, and integrity. If you find yourself in a situation where someone is using your personal information against you, it's important to recognize this as a major red flag. Stoicism teaches us not to react with impulsive emotion, but to respond with rational thought. Consider the implications of this breach of trust and evaluate whether this relationship aligns with your values and your well-being. Protecting yourself doesn't necessarily mean cutting people off at the first sign of trouble, but it does involve setting clear boundaries. If someone repeatedly misuses your trust, it may be wise to distance yourself from them. In doing so, you're not only safeguarding your own emotional health, you're also affirming your commitment to Stoic principles. You're valuing self-respect, cultivating wise relationships, and striving for a life where reason and virtue prevail. Recognizing when personal information is being used against you and taking steps to protect yourself are crucial measures in maintaining both personal tranquility and the integrity of your relationships. By practicing discernment in whom you trust, you are not only protecting yourself, but also upholding the Stoic ideal of living a life guided by wisdom and virtue. Number 8, lack of remorse. We all make mistakes. It's part of being human. But what really defines a person's character is how they respond to those mistakes. Do they acknowledge their errors, seek to make amends, and strive to learn from the experience? Or do they brush it off, show no remorse, and continue on as if nothing happened? In Stoic philosophy, the process of recognizing and correcting our faults is essential to personal growth and moral integrity. The Stoics believed that the path to virtue and wisdom involves constant self-reflection and improvement. When someone shows no remorse after wrongdoing, they're essentially rejecting this vital process of ethical reflection. This lack of remorse can be particularly harmful because it not only stunts the individual's personal development, but also undermines the trust and respect in their relationships. For instance, if someone lies or betrays a friend and shows no regret or desire to make amends, it signals a detachment from the values of honesty and integrity, values that are central to Stoic teachings. In relationships, a lack of remorse can create a toxic environment where accountability is absent and interactions become superficial or manipulative rather than genuine and supportive. Recognizing and addressing this absence of remorse is crucial, not only for maintaining your own peace of mind, but also for upholding the Stoic ideal of living a virtuous life. When you encounter someone who persistently shows no remorse, Stoicism advises you to approach the situation with both wisdom and compassion. This might involve setting clear boundaries, offering forgiveness where possible, or making the difficult decision to distance yourself from their negative influence. Stoicism teaches us to surround ourselves with those who aspire toward virtue and encourage us to do the same. By recognizing when someone lacks remorse, you're protecting your well-being and ensuring that your environment nurtures your growth and upholds your values. In navigating relationships where remorse is absent, you're not just maintaining your tranquility, you're also setting a standard for what you expect from yourself and others in your life. Number 9. Disrespect for boundaries. Finally, let's talk about boundaries, those invisible lines we draw around our emotional, physical, and mental spaces that help us define who we are and what we're comfortable with. Boundaries are essential for maintaining a sense of self and ensuring that our relationships are healthy and mutually respectful. But what happens when someone consistently disrespects those boundaries? In Stoicism, respecting boundaries goes hand in hand with respecting others' autonomy and individuality. The Stoics believed that every person has an inherent worth and dignity, which includes the right to set and maintain personal boundaries. When someone disregards these boundaries, they're not just being rude or inconsiderate, they're violating a fundamental aspect of ethical interaction. Disrespect for boundaries can manifest in many ways. It could be someone who repeatedly oversteps your physical space, ignores your requests to change hurtful behaviors, or insists on discussing topics that you've marked as off-limits. This kind of behavior creates discomfort and can lead to a deeper erosion of trust and safety within the relationship. Understanding the importance of boundaries and recognizing when they are being violated is crucial for maintaining your well-being and upholding the Stoic commitment to justice and respect for others. Stoicism empowers you to take appropriate actions, whether that means having a frank discussion about your boundaries, reinforcing them more firmly, or, if necessary, distancing yourself from the relationship. When boundaries are consistently disrespected, Stoicism encourages us to respond not with anger or resentment, but with reasoned action that aligns with our values. It teaches us to remain firm and compassionate, to educate where possible, and to protect our space and peace of mind when needed. By doing so, we not only preserve our dignity and self-respect, but also foster environments where genuine respect and ethical interactions are the norm. This approach doesn't just benefit us individually, it enhances the quality of our interactions and relationships, creating a community that values and practices respect for each person's boundaries. By recognizing and addressing the violation of your boundaries, you're not just protecting yourself, you're contributing to a more respectful and harmonious world, one that aligns with the Stoic ideals of integrity, wisdom, and justice. Don't forget to add any other signs of a bad person in the comments that you think we missed. I'd love to read your thoughts. Good always wins over evil in the comments if you made it this far. If you like these thoughts, please hit the like button and subscribe for more cool stuff.